Welcome to X Therapy. I'm your co-host, Marcus Gratney.
I'm your co-host, Xavier Carter.
And this is a digital safe space where we got two black men having conversations about mental health and all things that pertain to therapy. X, today I want to share a video, man. Listen to this. I watched this, and because of this video, I did a little bit of research. And so I want to ask your opinion. Now, he hadn't seen this audience, and so I'm going to ask his opinion on the other side. Here we go. Can you see my screen?
It's loaded, yeah.
All right.
Oh, man, I got one first question I want to ask y'all as we get down. I want to know, what is the biggest myth that society has about black fathers that we're sick and tired of, that you want to address and be able to let know that it is the biggest myth ever about black fathers?
That we ain't there.
I'm just gonna say that we deadbeats.
No, we might not be there. We be across the street, grandma's house somewhere. Like,
We down the street.
might not be in the house.
Fact of the matter is, studies show that black fathers are the most present in their kids' lives.
Really?
Yo, talk, man.
Amongst all demographics.
Wow.
On top of that, single fathers have a higher graduation rate and lower incarceration rate than single moms and dual family households combined. If you want to show a race of people, right, who are dysfunctional, you constantly show them on TV in one way, which means when you have producers who are creating shows, who's gonna be the villain? The black guy. Who the rapist? The black guy. Who the absentee father? The black guy. Because they get to choose those
I
things.
think people in pain speak louder than people in peace. So people don't have a father. Like when you get cut with something, you gonna holler. But when you're okay, you gonna, you're gonna walk and float. So I think people who don't have that, they speak louder and they take that. It's like some of the things more popular in the culture ain't that lucrative. And some of the things that, the opposite. So I think that's what it is. I think it gets out there because that's the loudest thing.
So then, with those stats really being relevant now, where is this myth still continuing to come from, you think?
Narratives. Everything that we consume comes from either through a phone, TV, or film, right?
Unfortunately.
There are people who have agendas, right? And part of that agenda is creating a separation between men and women in our communities. The easiest way to disturb the distribution of black wealth from generation to generation is to eliminate the nuclear family. How do you eliminate the nuclear family? You take the father out the home.
Yes.
So,
Oh, man, I got one first question I want to ask y'all as we
Woo-wee.
I've heard that before. How do you destroy, how do you eliminate or destroy the black family? You take away the nucleus, you take away the father.
Active and present. Active and present. And the thing that he spoke about, which was not in this article, but what is an ongoing narrative that I see in everyday life when I interact with people, and I see real prevalent on TikTok, particularly Black X, is like the conversation of outside influences seeking to destroy that family structure. And I'm trying to figure out, and I haven't gotten to the bottom of this, but maybe we could just talk this thing through here in this session, is the why. Like, what are people so afraid of, and why are outside influences so, like, adamant about destroying the black family? Because I ain't gonna lie, growing up, I thought black fathers weren't around. Because my dad wasn't in the household. But I'm gonna tell you something, bro. That was a present dude. He drove a taxi cab. Horace Gradney is his name. That cat would pick me up and ride me around in his taxi. We'd go walking. He taught me about sex X. He's like, hey, listen, the first time you with a woman, man, you be gentle. Like he kept saying gentle, gentle, gentle. This is how you do it. He didn't go into the intimate details, but he taught me how to treat that woman. Look her in her eyes. Touch her hand frequently. Take her out to dinner. You always paying. You're always opening the door. You're always doing this and this and this. But he wasn't physically in my house. And I ain't gonna lie, growing up, I was a little mad at him. Until, never forget, it was must have been my 16th or 17th birthday. My mom told me she was the problem. She's like, yeah, I just wasn't. Yeah, man, it was high school sweethearts. They met. She got pregnant. She had me early. She just didn't, she felt she was too young. And if I'm being real, my dad was not a street dude, but he was street adjacent. And my mom was the
That makes sense.
educated college Christian girl who was really, low-key, a little bit street, but she tried to keep that secret. You know what I mean? She
Yeah.
tried to keep that image up, and she didn't want him tarnishing her image. And I'm like, and then I was, boy,
Wow.
I was mad at her for years. I had to live with her, but I was so angry because I love my dad, man. My dad was super dope. I try to emulate what he does, what he did with me with my 3 kids, you know?
Yeah. So I was thinking about what you were talking about earlier, and that's the reason my brain was kind of going off. But there's
Mhm.
also stuff that you were talking about too that maybe I can speak from an emotional standpoint.
That's fine.
I think you could probably attack it from a analytic or scientific standpoint, along with your personal standpoint. But the reason why I say that's because I haven't seen my father since I was 6.
I know you
Okay.
told me that. That's why I wanted
Yeah.
your perspective because I think it's interesting how you talked, and you don't have to go into further detail than you want, and I don't want to trigger you in any way, but you are so well rounded, man. And I look at you, bro, and I respect everything you've done with your life. And I'm like, how did this dude do it? I don't know. We've never had that conversation. But I
It's
said, this
what
is
you
the
said,
perfect space
actually.
to have this conversation. Did he get outside influences? Because here's the deal. Even though my mom didn't, I don't want to say it like this because it sounds bad on film, but I'm gonna say it, but I don't quite mean it like this. Didn't allow my father to be in my life the way I wanted to. Let me say it like that. Because she did let him come around. She always made sure that I had a whole bunch of positive male influences to my benefit when I was young. But as I grew older, because my wife pointed this out to me, you're always seeking some older male's approval. You're always looking for a daddy and this and that. And I'm like, damn, I kind of am. You know what I mean? I didn't mean to, but it just
Happened.
until I was like, bruh, 36, I was
Yeah.
always looking for a replacement to like affirm me. I'm a strong male role model to affirm me until I was like, you know what? Damn it, he right there in that mirror.
I think I think Tupac said it, either it was Tupac or LL Cool J, but it was one of them. I'm gonna go with my gut and I'm gonna say it was Tupac,
Hmm.
who said a boy who doesn't grow up without a father ends up looking for one.
Yeah, that's a
Right.
fact.
And so I'm gonna take, because maybe even that, because I'll tell you like this. I didn't grow up without a father. The last time I see my father was when I was 6 years old. I grew up in a single parent household with my older sister. So what does that mean? Who's my second parent? My older sister.
Exactly.
That's just how it is,
I have a term for them. I call
Imagine.
them my fathers. My fathers. Like their mothers and their fathers, but they really do fill in that gap.
Yeah, because when my mom needed, watch your brother. That's my sister. There's been times I know the stress of a single parent or the single mother where I grew up on TV. So if she has to do business, gotta handle what she needs to handle. So watch TV. Okay, I'm watching TV. But she's off doing her own thing in the sense of running errands to handle business.
Handling
I
business.
know in the process of all of that, she's freaking out because she's hoping nothing bad happens. That's sympathy for a single parent, right? But I grew up on TV, and there's certain things that I learned from TV that I was stuck out with me. Now, maybe I'm fortunate. Maybe I'm blessed enough to understand that's dumb. That works. Like Jimmy Neutron, his father, Hugh Neutron, was telling Jimmy, because there's an episode where Jimmy wished that he was rich. And his father was like, son, a man must have his priorities in order.
Hmm.
That always stood out to me. Matter of fact, that's actually kind of what gave birth full circle to Rule One.
Wow.
I just didn't know it until I realized it later on, years later, like, got it. It was you. Because that stuck with me, right? I always was like, you know what? Okay, as I got older, what does knowing your priorities mean? And as I gotten older, it started to,
Click.
build upon itself. So I grew up on, the good, the bad, even some of the ugly of TV. There's also men that I've admired that helped raise me without even realizing it.
Mm.
Now, I'm gonna get to someone else in particular, but this is before he came into the play.
Hmm.
So there's certain people that I grew up on that were like my father figures. They gave me the confidence to be me. Some of my defiance, my resiliency came from someone else. They're the ones who helped me stand 10 toes on what I believe in. Even right
Mm.
now, what I'm trying to do at my own job, it's him that gave me that
In your
that
mind.
confidence
Yep.
to fight for what I believe,
Yep.
in. So I grew up on some of these other men who really helped me, and I would never meet them ever in a day of my life. But they're the people
You
who
said
inspired
that
me to be better.
before. That's what you meant when you said some of my mentors I've never met and I will never meet. That's what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, I
I will
got you.
probably never. I'll probably never meet them. Some of them are fictional characters, but they installed a sense of morality in me. They installed a sense of, hey, you need to do right, or hey, this is what right looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe from the good and the bad, the ugly, to my own detriment. It is what it is. But I focused on the good, and they did help me become or try to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. One person in particular, he's the one who helped. Like, yes, it worked against me to some degree because it kind of hurt my sleep, but he made sense of it. You should not be getting 8 hours of sleep and you broke. Sure enough, I'm over here getting well rested and I'm broke. And ever since then, my life is just taking off. So yeah, I may have bags under my eyes, but I'd rather have bags in my eyes and I'm progressing
Mm-hmm.
than to be well rested and I ain't got nothing. I'm still dependent on people. It
Mm-hmm.
installed that sense of hustler in me. So I was getting it. I went to, I learned off of Ed and Eddie, where if I can think it, market it, talk it, I can profit off of it. It is what it is. As long as I make the ends justify the means.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just making money off of that, but I was learning from TV. I was able to take apart what was constructive, what was not. In a
Mm-hmm.
sense, I was practicing the philosophy of jujitsu before I even knew what jujitsu was.
Wow.
Right. But these are the people, and I guess right now, I'll be fair. I'll be honest. I'm not strong enough to really admit who these people are because I just don't feel like dealing with the judge. Because even with that happened, where I'll talk about who's inspired me, who's motivated me.
No, I'm not. I'm
Like,
not saying.
you
I'm
know,
not saying that that's necessary. But what I want to do, what I'm trying to do for the audience is like, a demonstrate that there are outside influences that seek to break up the black family, the black mind, and there are other ways that are non-traditional that you can grow as a black man and not necessarily because early on I had a victim mentality, right? My dad
mhm.
wasn't in the home, he wasn't this, he wasn't that, he did it. But it was never the fact that I didn't have a nuclear family in a traditional sense because the statistics that I studied today bear out that because he was present, he didn't need to physically be in the household. That would be helpful, but statistically speaking, there is no difference as you survey a large group of people of a father who's physically present or he's just emotionally available and present in your life in other ways, right? So that was me in my head telling myself, "You're a victim. You didn't have a daddy. Oh, well, it's you." Blah 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 blah. That was more detrimental to me and my thinking than actually not having him physically in the household. And so that's
You
what
know
I'm
what?
trying to show. And you,
Yeah.
and I'm not using you as a guinea pig or anything. I'm just
Mhm.
saying I'm quite impressed that you're the perfect example of that because
No, I
you
appreciate
didn't
that.
he wasn't really there, you know what I mean? But there was other ways, television, other mentors, your sister filling in the gap where you found a way to still find your assertiveness, to still find your masculinity, to still find your fashion, to still find your swag, you know what I mean? To still
Yeah.
find your way to becoming a strong black man. And you did it.
You know
And
what?
you're
I
doing it
appreciate
and you
that.
are him, you know?
Yeah, I appreciate that. Matter of fact, that leads to a perfect segue because I wanted to kind of like build up to this person,
Uh-huh.
but even with all of those people that I looked up to, like I
Mhm.
said, the people I'll probably never meet, we're gonna take what you said about present, right? I met my mentor through the what was it, the Big Brother program,
Okay.
right? And as now, granted, I did not make it easy for him. Like he would try to
Mhm.
talk to me, and I'm like,
We never do, brother. We never do.
yeah. I was like, what you? I'm not. I didn't give him
Who
much
are you,
feedback.
first of all? I don't even
Yeah,
know you like that.
he didn't know if you liked him or anything like that, and I was like, I just wasn't. I wasn't really uh familiar with him
You hadn't built
until me.
rapport. It's the most important fundamental of any relationship. Y'all hadn't built rapport together.
Well, this is like after like multiple times we were hanging out. I think we hung out like maybe 3, 4 times a year. So it's
Zay,
like I wasn't making it easy. I was like,
y'all hadn't built. I don't care. Okay,
I mean, my trust
I'm
issue.
gonna flip the role. I'm gonna be Zay for a minute. Let me put it to you like this. How many times have you dated a woman and it was love at first sight and everything was smooth after the first joint?
Not many. I'm the wrong person to talk to about that part.
No,
I
that's
just been in a
why
lot
I'm
of
talking to
situations.
you about that part because nothing really is that easy. But as men, I think men to men think that we could just show up and we could just it's just easy. Yes, it's easy for us to commune. But as a grown a man who has tried to make a lot of adult friendships, it's not it's not that easy, bro. Grown men particularly have a lot of baggage that they carry. Little boys have less, but we still have barriers because the thing is our greatest gift as men is our vulnerability. And and you can't just give that up easy like that. Even as a small boy, man, we know. Because the
Hmm.
world told us to man up. The world told us to be tough. The world told us to be assertive. The world told us, hey, watch your back. The world told us to keep your head on a swivel. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So as a little boy, you had some of that in your brain. And
Yeah,
so
because I was actually taught at a young age. I was always taught, hey, don't trust anybody. And as I went through certain experiences, I was like, yeah, no. But but and that's kind of what it was. But when I heard his backstory, yo, he's very similar to me. And as we kept going, we're very similar. And as we kept going, we were like, yo, we're really similar. I think I was like 18 years old. I was like, I was joking. I was just thinking in my head, it'd be kind of crazy if you were actually my dad. And which is funny because he was like, we actually at the store one time, and that's actually what I brought it up. He was like, "Oh, I was just waiting to see your 18th birthday to tell you." I was like, "Wait, what?" He was like, "No, I'm just messing with you."
bruh,
No,
bruh. That would have
no,
been crazy if you said that.
I know. Granted, I mean, it was funny because it was like, "Wait, what?" And he was like, "No, I'm just messing with you." I was like, it was one of those like, but it's like we're so similar
Yeah.
because we're so similar to the point where you would think that in the past life we met each other. There's a level of
Mm.
intimacy where we're very close. So if he was to say that, yo, that's my stepson, or if I was to say like that's my stepdad, I'm not really wrong. Matter of fact, take it a step further, me and him talked about it. I told him I could never raise my hand at you. Like if me and you were to get into a fight, I'm just gonna let you beat me up. I'm not gonna do anything about it. I'm
Mm.
just gonna let you do it because I don't have it in my heart to put my hands on you. Which is
Mm.
funny because he even said the same thing. Like I don't have it in me to put my hands on you. I'm
Mm.
like the little brother of his two other sons.
Mm.
So, well, I'm the youngest son of his other sons.
Mm-hmm.
So for him, I'm like in a way the baby. So it's like I can't really put my hands on you, and I'm like I can't really put my hands on you either. We just have to talk that out,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But granted, him being present in my life, I'll say like this because this is kind of fair. Because I'm a teenager. I'm trying to get money and trying to get girls. I ain't hearing much of
So
anything.
initially when you met, how old were you?
It's 13.
So you're 13. So you're right at the beginning of becoming a teenager. And then as it progressed, you are going into your teen years. Okay, go ahead.
It was either that or I met him in my 8th grade. It was one of them, I don't remember. But it was like
Like I
12,
can't
maybe
do
13.
math. I don't know how old y'all in the eighth grade. So are you 13 in the eighth grade?
Me, I can't remember. I can't
Okay, that's
remember,
cool.
but I
That's
do
cool. I
know.
mean, listen, audience, y'all can figure it out. That's mathematicians
Yeah,
out there.
I just know he's been in my life for about maybe just 10 plus years, right?
Okay, cool. Got it.
And me and him over the time, he'll tell me certain things. But I was listen. I had the mind of a child, so I was listening as a child. I
Mm.
didn't see things as a child. I saw
Mm.
things as a child. I never saw
Mm-hmm.
him as a man until I became one. I
Mm-hmm.
remember one time he was fixing up this pool for his wife. I'm a child. I'm looking at that like, why? Why are you doing that? That's dumb. I'm talking about he's exhausted. You know that exhaustion where
Yeah,
when you look at
bro.
your guest like,
Because he done already
look,
worked 8 hours probably, and now he, didn't get chill time. Now he got to try to figure out this pool situation because
yeah.
that's what men do.
Oh, but it shaped everything because it took me,
No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying I'm 43 years old and I have to do these types of things to this day because that's what men do. I mean, I did the air quotes,
yeah.
but it's an
I'm more.
expectation. But I think that this is a righteous expectation, honestly.
Yeah, because I'm more building up to it in a
Okay.
sense of when I saw it as a child, I'm like, that's dumb. You're
Mm-hmm.
tired. You barely have any energy.
Mm-hmm.
Until I grew older, I fell in love, and I'm over here. I'm exhausted, and I'm doing something for my significant other
Mm-hmm.
because she asked me to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me getting older to be like, that's it. Something so
Mm-hmm.
simple, and that's how you love. That's how you show love.
Mm-hmm.
Something so simple, and it left a profound effect on me. I don't remember the words you said, like, hey, if don't cross in the green, never crossing the green, never, all that jazz. I don't remember the whole point, but the point is, I don't necessarily remember the like lessons in terms of words. I remember the lessons through his actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I
Mm-hmm.
remember that. So there's things that he would do. I remember him doing, and
Mm-hmm.
he may not remember, but I'm like, I remember you doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I remember you doing this. I remember your patience. I remember like there's only a few times he's ever really lost his patience. He never yelled at me, but he would just like get really stern, very serious. And this is when I was really like frustrated. And I'm gonna use this part where I think this probably answers your question as to why they want to break up the black family.
Mm-hmm.
And some of that has something to do with us,
Mm-hmm.
right? I I'm talking about 2019 when I was locked in on joining, like on progressing my life. I told him, hey, look, I'm not really focused on dating. I'm just trying to get my stuff together. I'm just focusing on me. Hey, dating never got me to X amount of money. It never got me here. It never got me there. Left me with a broken heart though. So I'm not. I ain't feeling it. And he's like, he just got he just lost his patience. He got frustrated. He was like, Zay, that's not how you're supposed to be thinking like that. Yeah, my wife didn't bring, a whole bunch of money to me, but she brought me stability. She brought me a family. And I was like, huh. And it took me processing all of the stuff that I've gone through, processing my anger, my frustration, my hurt, my heartbreak, all these different things for me to realize, you had some women that really cared about you and you
Mm-hmm.
wasn't able to see it. You wasn't able to really process it. It was one of those things that was like, cool. It's like when the girl keeps giving you food or gives you flowers, something like she's always showing you kind gestures and you kind of brush it off. Unbeknownst to
I,
you, she had a question.
I have two friends as I'm listening to you talk that I'm thinking about, two black men, right?
Mhm.
And both stories, I love them both dearly, but they're both really sad. The first one is a man who really has a heart of gold, right? But he has a really hard exterior. And if you met him, you'd be like, man, like like what's your homie's name that you met in class?
Miguel.
Miguel. I just remembered as well. It's like the situation where you ran into Miguel the first day of class. He's like that, and you want to do that to him because you're like, man, he a little prickly, right? But if you learn his backstory, his life is the perfect and apt use of the word trauma. I mean, left alone for days at a time, you know what I mean, to look after his younger sibling, all kinds of just like hurt and pain and situations going on. But dope dude. I mean, like that's my he one of my realest ones, bro. Like I can depend on him for anything. But he doesn't believe he can depend on anybody for anything. He'd rather not ask anybody for anything, right? Had a girlfriend. If he had 21 needs, she fulfilled 19 and a half of those needs. But he actually couldn't see it and was like, nah, on to the next. Because, he is him too when it comes to getting them females, but just never fulfilled. And then I have another friend, love him dearly too. Dope dude. Dressed the nine. I mean, when you think of swag, this nigga is swag, walking, talking, smoothing, just cool, right? But that man, you talking about swimming pool? Let's say he will build the swimming pool, the house, write the recipe, cook the food. And the other day he told me, man, I don't have any dreams and I don't think I ever will dream again. And it broke my heart because I'm like, damn, bro. So You're going to live your whole life exhausted, but my family got better than me, man. But my family's gonna be better than me, man. My son is straight A student and a athlete, like a real app, and he's spending time like his kid gonna be the next LeBron James. Now I don't know if he will or won't, but he's spending that much time with his son, teaching him how to be athletic, how to jump the box, how to do weight training. This kid is 10 years old. His kid is 10 years old. Wife is just setting all over the world. She's going to here and there and everywhere. She went to China, or either she went or she going soon. And he expending, but he don't make China money. But I'm like, man, that guy, amazing black, two amazing black men, both living out trauma experiences.
You know, it's funny. I kind of understand exactly where both of them coming from. I know it's like they kind of just get to the point where you feel like you can only depend on you.
Yep.
Everyone else is just
And
you
you
just here.
feel and what the sense that I get, and I have a little bit of that. I turned it down because I have a whole other negative trauma response myself. But I think also that they see themselves only as worker bees and only as functional units inside of the relationship rather than fully present um men who deserve love, who deserve to dream, who deserve to be given flowers, to be given hugs, to be given kisses, to be pampered. I don't think that they believe that they deserve any of that, honestly.
You know what? And that's why I was like, I could kind of relate to them because everything you're saying, I had to, in a sense, face it on the forefront. And some of it, I think I feel like they really feel like they are only loved when they actually are valued, when they actually bring
Oh.
something of value to the relationship in the sense of
Mm,
their work.
mm,
Them as themselves coming to the party as themselves with no gift, get rid of them. But I got to come to the party with a gift and a whole bunch of other things just to be accepted in. You know what
mm,
I'm saying? And I think that's where I'm like, when as you kept telling the story, I couldn't help but to relate because hey, it brought me back to 2023. Because I
mm.
was like, really like, hey, yo, dude, I asked someone, hey, bro, am I lame? Because I don't do what a lot of people do. I don't drink. And sometimes when I say I don't drink, people immediately just write me off.
I
You're
absolutely
right.
love that. I
Now,
absolutely love that.
you know it's
Because do you
funny?
know that your
I went
life
to
expectancy, young man, will increase by 10 to 15 years because you don't drink?
you know what's funny? I mean, granted, that's cool to know. I just know I'm an extremist. I go
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah,
You
you
know what I'm
do.
saying?
You
So
do.
I don't, oh, no, it's about moderation. First off, we're Americans. That's not our culture. Our culture is consuming excess. Oh, you got a wife? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you got a wife? You want another one? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Excess.
our
Listen,
culture.
excess is the new moderation, baby.
Right. So I know me. I know my fam. I know in my family there's an addiction. We
Hmm.
addiction runs deep in my family.
Hmm.
So not to say like everyone's just strung out, but I just know what's in my family. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? So why am I gonna play with that? If I know myself well enough to know that in my family tree it is addiction, I know you have an obsessive and addictive personality because when you like something, you like it a lot. Why am I gonna do it?
Yeah,
That don't make sense. That's walking into a trap that's avoidable.
100%.
So that's just personally how
And
I
it's a trap tailor made for you. That's the trick about what you're talking about. Because boy, ooh, I
yeah,
had a whole lot of wrapped,
mind you, yeah,
wrapped
mind you,
that I had
my
to be
friends do
like,
drugs. Yeah, my mind you, my friends do drugs. I don't judge them. You do you.
no,
I
you
don't
do you,
care.
boo.
Yeah, you just hey, you do you. Just don't spike my stuff. We cool. I've literally been. Matter of fact, go. We had a bonfire.
Hey, hey, hey,
Everyone.
hey, 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 we don't dry snitch on the pod. Don't get too many
Oh no no
details.
no 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 no
Okay,
no no
okay,
no.
okay.
A bonfire is just like hey, we just had a cool
Okay,
thing. You
okay,
know.
okay, okay, okay.
Yeah, but like a kickback, right?
Yep.
They're tired. They dancing, all this other stuff. It gets late at night. They're tired. I'm having a good time. Like, hey, where y'all going? Y'all want to keep on going? Let's go hang out. Let's hang out. Where you get all this energy from? I just want to keep on hanging out. Mind you, I'm sober.
Because your energy is coming from them though. You're getting energy, but it's from them. Their energy is coming from the substance.
There you go. And I was like, yo, I'm just enjoying the vibe. So, and like I said, I think it's a matter of the feeling of only being loved if you actually do something. That's where I'm like, I can relate to them on that. And I think maybe it's because maybe that's where the lack of a father comes into play, where you need that father kind of fulfills that validation. Yeah, it's cute when your mom says, "You, baby, you are sweet, you are special, you are enough." But it's something that hits harder when your father says, "Hey, bro, a true man stands 10 toes on his feet and he accepts himself for who he is."
I don't know what that is. I
Because
don't know if it's because you relate to your father being him before you or what it is, but I wholeheartedly, and even when you just said it, I just felt it like, hey, my dad used to call
I
me
think
Pluck. Hey, Pluck, make sure grad knees never look at the ground. Grad knees always walk with their head up, with their chest out, with their shoulders straight. I mean, and it's like he said that to me yesterday, bro. And we were the only, Gratneys that I mean, there are other males, but the ones it was just me and him because it was our little family, me,
I
him, and my
think
mom.
there's a relatability. I think when you look at someone who looks like you or is
And they
similar to
made you, I
you,
guess, too, is probably important.
yeah, that too. Yes, but I'll tell you like this: my stepdad has way more say over my own dad.
Yeah,
That's
as soon as I said it, I was like, but there are I call them found fathers who, because my uncle, man, my uncle, I think I'm still looking for my uncle's approval. My aunt says that he said it about me. I don't know if I've actually ever heard him say it to me, but he raised me for a majority of my life because I told you after that whole situation with my mom, we were never quite. I wasn't. Maybe I was a little bit. I had like a small grudge that I held against her, but I went overseas, and that's actually the first time I came to Germany. Um, to live with him, and he was my newfound father, but he was that worker bee type. He was that get it done. Hey, this is how you do this and this and this. Not really huggy, loving kind of, never gonna say I love you really. Yeah, I mean, kind of thing, more so than like I do with my kids. I love you, son. You saw what I just did with my son. I love you, man. 20 seconds, 20, 19. Dad, can you let me go? 18, 17. 16, body to body, 20 seconds, intimate hugs.
hmm And you know what's funny? And I think, and maybe I could probably try to full circle it
Yeah.
back,
Because
but
we're
it's
going
just
in a
the
lot of
fact
different
that
directions, but that's okay.
yeah, but I think they're all important because that's kind of the reason why this all kind of affects the black family, the black
Hmm.
household, why black men need fathers, because in a way it's almost like it's all connected. It sounds like a kind of a mess, but in a way this mess affects other relationships,
It affects
right?
all the relationships. That's the thing.
Right. Like I would say, so with I looked at other men. I even looked at some of my friends, where how they would do things, and and maybe it's just searching for who I wanted to be, and I
Hmm.
was just taking from bits and pieces. Again, a
Hmm.
boy who doesn't have a father will look for one.
Hmm.
I'm looking for what would be deemed as manly, like even how you hug your son intimately for 20 seconds. That's manly as hell. Miguel literally told his girlfriend at the time, and I'm the serious one. He's the laid back one. So we're
Hmm.
like brothers. You now know the difference between the two.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
He walks up. We walk out the restaurant and dead serious. I'm talking like I got scared. He was like, "Don't touch that door." Fuck it, I won't touch it either. It's yours. It's
We
yours,
ain't
bro.
touching the door. We ain't
Yeah.
touching the door.
I think when he opened the door for his girlfriend, he's like, "Hey, dude, why you gonna get in? You said don't touch the door. I just want to make sure we're all good." You know, that always stuck out with me.
Yeah.
One of my former bosses, he cooks for his family, and I looked at that and I was like, "That's gangster as hell."
It
Mind you,
is.
he's in the army. We work in the same shop together, but I always thought that was pretty cool when he told me about that. Like, hey, yeah, I cook for my family because we're in HR. It gets exhausting, But for the fact that he had
Mentally draining, which is the hardest part.
mentally. But you know what I always realized? No matter how mentally exhausted he is, it has to be like extreme, right? Where he just I can't do it. but he always conserves enough energy to cook for his family. I
Wow.
know that about him.
Powerful.
He, no matter how bad the day is, he's gonna have at least enough energy to cook for his family. And that always stuck out to me about that. I was like, that's really cool. And like I said, maybe it's because again I'm searching. I was at the time really like searching for who I wanted to be.
Mm.
You know, that's why Batman Begins kind of means a lot to me.
Hmm.
Not as much anymore because I got that answer now. So now we're moving on to something else, and that's a good thing because that means that chapter of my life is kind of like closed because you kind of have these influences that you're like, you know what, that's what I want to be. That's what I'm trying to do. That's who I'm trying to model myself after. But back then, I was just taking bits and pieces.
Mm.
So it molded me into becoming who I am. You know,
Hmm.
from learning from all these different factors, from growing up on TV, growing up and watching and just taking bits and pieces just to make myself become something better or become someone better. I understand those two gentlemen's pain.
Yeah.
Am I really valuable? I asked them. I was like, "Yo, am I lame? Because I don't drink. I don't do these things. I don't. I just try, but I try to do me. I don't judge you. If you, my only thing is if you're gonna drink, handle your liquor. But I don't judge you. Do your thing. But I get written off really easily. And I got to the point where it's like it felt like the only time my phone went off is when someone needed something from me.
Mm.
You know, and I just got so overwhelmed and just so emotionally just done with everything. I was just like, look, I'm just gonna play the game and watch TV and I won't be bothered. And my time is if I talk to you, I talk to you. If I don't, I don't. It got
Mm.
that bad. It got to the point where I really felt I just didn't feel comfortable being me. So I understand their pain. I understand their frustration, but they are valued. They are very valued.
I tell them that all the time. I
Not
tell both of them that all the time, and I really do hope that not that I've gotten it all figured out because I have problems too, you know what I mean, in relationships and things like that. But one thing I can say about myself, and I do want them to understand it, if they see this, I'm gonna say it to them directly, is that every one of us in this community, because this is, even though we're not a monolith, this is a singular community that is widespread internationally. Each
mhm.
of us need each other to be fully ourselves and to have full actualization of the purpose that we were put here to pursue. And I think each of us is different. One of them loves anime, one of them loves NBA 2K, I think it's 2K or something like that. Both of them dope with that stuff though, and I ain't into either of those things really like that. But I just watching them be in their element and their vibe, it makes me happy. I'm like, oh snap, okay, who is Naruto? Okay, who is One Piece? All right, now why is the new One Piece better than the old One Piece? Actually, they both like anime. Now that I think about it, but it's cool because it's like a whole other side of themselves that they open up to me vulnerably, and I hope I didn't put too much of their business. I tried to hide the identity mostly from what the things that I was saying. But
If anything, if it helps, you really told us nothing other than it's almost like telling two characters in a story.
exactly, and that,
That's
but I wanted, so what these conversations are, audience, so y'all know, X therapy is really just pulling back the veil on why it's a lot of things, but one of the things is it's pulling back the veil of why we behave as Black men the way we do, and to let you know that there's so much more depth underneath the surface of what you see every day. You see us in offices, you see us in boardrooms, you see us in gyms and in shared spaces. But you don't understand the depth of this whole black thing. This black thing is deep, man. This thing goes way deeper than just everyday hello, how you doing type of conversations. We have, I mean, we all have things, but we black men in particular carry a much larger weight than what you see every day. And as far as the question that I asked, because I've never answered that question for myself, and I'm thinking. I'm going from my brain to research to what I studied as I was doing my master's degree. And if I'm being real with you, Zay, I think the ultimate answer to that question is capitalism. I think at some point of our experience, society at large, big corporations or whatever, figured out that maybe because of studying the black church and how much money they make on Sundays, and how they could be their own. We could have our own Vatican, really, if we just collected all the money in the black church and kept the black dollar in the community, right? Like we learned that from Black Wall Street. That's why it was burned down, because it was too profitable. We had airports and doctors' offices and department stores and mechanic shops and dress shops and all of these industries. And that black dollar, I think it circulated, I want to say it was 3 or 4 days. It stayed in the community. Now it's ours, right? But they found out that by subdividing this community up and feeding them this and feeding them that and looking at this and looking at that and scroll this and scroll that, that the division is very, very profitable. Because when we're together working amongst ourselves in community, that black dollar is staying within our communities. But if we divide and conquer, if we tell the black mother, going, I know this, they say it's not real, whatever, but to the Willie Lynch, going back in history to Willie Lynch, take the black father. You tar and feather him. You set him on fire in front of the mother. She won't respect him. Now she fears the white man and this and that. And now the community is divided. And this is what's happening over here. Now we have control over the narrative and the mind, and we can move it the way that we want to. And we have now the control of the purse. So the SNAP benefit goes away. And hey, if I can feed you, I can starve you. There's just all of this confusion that takes place. But here at X Therapy, what we're trying to expose, I guess, or maybe highlight, is your ability to take control of your life and your narrative, right? I know I just threw a lot of information out there. It was history and this and that, but don't just listen to what I'm saying. I tell my kids this, and I'm going to tell you this, audience. You need to do your research. I ain't saying you have to read, because everybody's not a reader. I'm dyslexic. I like to read a lot, but I'm dyslexic, so I read very, very slow. If you watch it on TikTok, that's fine, but also do your research. Like we're going to link an article here at the bottom. I'll link 3 articles. I'll link the first one about the nuclear family, the black family, and the division of it. I'll link an article about the economics that I've been talking about as well, and I'll link another article about why mentorship and having some male presence in your life is important in order for you to be healed and whole. What you think
Yeah, just
about
be
all of that?
careful
I
of
know I said a lot, X. My bad.
Oh no, you're good. You had my full attention because I was like, I got so immersed in it, I was like, wow, like I was just taking it all in.
Because this topic, man, I've been researching for like a week, and like there's like so many ways it can go, and I'm like, man. And I was so happy when you said I want to take it in a different direction, because I was like, hallelujah, because
Yeah,
it was so heavy on me, bro. It was like weighing on me, because I'm like, man, this thing is crazy. So
because I
that
had
just
to
shows
talk
you how
about.
important the black fathers are in the community, in our
Yeah,
community.
and matter of fact, like, and I'm gonna touch on those other guys because I think I'm a one last little bit on them in a
Hmm.
sense of what I was saying about how it hits differently when you know it's coming from someone who either it looks like you or someone who is the same as you, like a male. The positive to my mental breakdown is I discovered um Russ's there's an artist named Russ. He's
Hmm.
Italian, right?
Okay.
Or Sicilian. The point is rapper, right? But he came out with this album called Santiago, which completely deconstructs the artist that is him. The
Okay.
bravado, the braggadocious rap, all of it went all the way around. It went just he tore it apart. And especially with the song um Oasis and Enough. And then like those two are like my favorite songs because Oasis pretty much captures exactly how I was feeling. Like it, if I was having a decent amount of money, but I was out of shape. Like in where I was at, I was not taking care of myself at all. Every night or almost every single day, I was eating out. All right, I was not really eating properly. I wasn't taking care of myself. It was at the point I was like, I think I was doing better when I was broke, you know. But when I was really like, I don't feel like I'm enough. I
Mm,
don't feel like I'm enough as a person, who I am. I don't think people rock with me for me. I think they rock with me for what I can do. But when I was
mm,
listening to that song, I was like, you know what? You are. It hit differently when I heard you're enough. You are enough as who you are. And this person to your side doesn't rock with you for who you are. when you're just doing absolutely nothing, maybe you need to cut that person loose.
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So some people are only attracted to the scars. They don't want to hear the backstory.
Wow.
So I
Ooh.
was like, okay.
Some people are only
And
attracted to the scars because they're not willing to they're not willing to walk with you down this healing journey.
there's that too. Some people are not interested in the backstory. They're also not interested in the healing story.
Healing. Mm.
You know, I was talking to someone. I was like, you know, the cool thing about me and you in our dynamic, although there's trauma, this isn't trauma bonding. This is bonding through
Yes,
healing.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
so that goes for even for the audience. The work may be individual, but the healing is together. That's
It
what we're
is.
talking about these stories.
The
You
healing is
know, it's not.
communal. Even though like you have your own healing journey, I have my own healing journey. One of the four pillars of my brand, the Wholeness Way, is like number 4 is a communal aspect.
Mhm.
Because if we never share our stories, if we never commune, the healing, it's almost like I can't say it doesn't take root because the healing happens, but it's like it doesn't fully
It's broken.
yeah, exactly. It's not full. It's not complete.
And that's the black and woman, that's the black man and the black woman's dynamic right now. Because of the fact that it's divided,
Yes.
right? It is nothing but hurt, but it's almost like the hurt is also backhanded too. We talk about black love, but you ain't good enough. Or you are not that attractive. It's always it's almost like a put down. It's almost
Or
like you
I
still
mean,
wear
you would
makeup.
be a little better if you weren't a bus driver type of situation.
Yeah. It's
Yep.
like the Pocket Balloon Challenge. I don't like that show because you mostly just see black people tearing down
Bro,
other
I
black people.
hate it, man. I It's like at first I was like, oh, this is novel, interesting. But like you said, over time you're like, nah,
Yeah, it's
nah.
just black people kind of tearing down other black people, and it's just like
And
it,
all from all facets of the diaspora. Like there's the
yeah,
African side, there's the like New York, South, all of that. And I'm like, damn, man, we just
just
for entertainment.
yeah, and that's the thing. And I'm like, at what cost? Just to go
It's a
viral?
heavy
It's not
cost,
worth
I'm
it.
sure. Not worth it.
Yeah,
Totally not
it's
worth
not worth it. And so it's like it's stuff like that, and that's what I'm recognizing as that's kind of one of the things I was hoping to kind of come back to. And I'm glad you said communal because the community that doesn't heal, or if there's no healing within the community is just a broken one,
it. Facts.
right? And
Facts.
so that's kind of what's going on with even with the black community, with the black woman, the black man, is that we're not really healing. We're just like, I just put some rubbing alcohol on it. I never put a band-aid over it.
Put some
So it's just like
peroxide on
air
it, clean it
blows.
up, and keep it moving.
Yeah. So it's just like, and also, who spends more? Single people.
Oh, that's a fact.
Single people
That's a
spend a
fact.
whole bunch of money, way more money than a marriage couple because I ain't gotta answer anybody.
Yeah. You're not
And then when
responsible for anybody.
I'm not responsible for anyone, but when those trigger responses kick in, and I need to buy something that kind of quells that the ego or
Makes
that
me feel
pain,
good. Yep.
I can do it.
And
If
then I
you
can
look
do
at
it. I
the
can wear
relationship,
it. I can look in the mirror and say, see, you still him. You still him.
and I'm
But
profiting off the black
internally,
dollar,
you know what I mean?
it's
You
almost like we're
lonely.
profiting off
You
this.
sad.
It's like companies are profiting off the black dollar, and they got two sets of profits. They come with two sorts of incomes coming in from the black woman and the black man, and I'm
And that's
getting
what
both.
I mean, and that's what I was saying about the division because it's the black woman, the black man. Now, if you have the kids separate, okay, now daddy buying some things and mommy buying some things. You know what I'm saying? It's not like everybody making conscious, wise decisions together. It's like everybody individually doing their thing to make them feel better.
Right. Honestly, I dance with the idea of what if I have a baby mama, quote unquote, right? The one thing I at least hope for is that we're healed enough to help raise this child together. We don't have to, I don't care who you're dating, as long as he's a well-respected dude or, a decent man. I don't care. You do you. Because I've been around women who they have a baby daddy. He ain't worried about that kid. He's worried about who you doing.
Bruh.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, dude, that's not their business.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm about to go here for a second. and only a brief second because it really is triggering for my wife. So I was married before, right? Very, very brief time. Met her in a club, and I was in the middle of a situation like that because of my daddy wounds, right? I always wanted to be a father, and what better way to be a father than with this ready-made hot chick who already has a kid? I was like, oh, cool. I don't gotta have no kids. She already got one. Bet I'll just help raise the kid. Long story short, I mean, and I'm not trying to minimize because she was a dope girl, nice girl. Daughter was excellent, still wonderful girl to this day. I don't communicate with him that much, but what I learned in that experience is that healing is a real thing that you really got to pay attention to and give attention to and work through. That dude would call all the time, bro, and he had three babies. Well, yeah, her and two other babies' mamas. She had one had two, and I think the other one had three. So what's that? Three, four, five kids. And he had time to call all of them and be that guy for all of them, bro. And I'm like, you work at Taco Bell, my G, and you're not really taking care of none of them because nobody getting child support. But that was the most infuriating year and a half of my life, bro, because I'm like, this is crazy. It was like really being on the inside of an episode of Real Housewives because in that situation, nobody's getting anything. Nobody's getting what they deserve. Nobody's getting what they need. It's just a hot, steeping pile of mess, is what it is.
And yeah, and that actually, I think that sums that up. It's just one big mess that kind of continues to spiral and spiral and spiral until someone hopefully wakes up and realize, what am I gaining from this?
And that's what her, so long story short, what ended up happening is, I got divorced her because I just couldn't because I was young. She was young. I was 20, 20 at the time. She was either no, she must have been 23. I was 20, she was 23. But it's like now she's a manager at a hotel. She's doing really, really good. General manager of a hotel, taking care of her daughter. Daughter graduated from college. I think she had another daughter. But life, really turned around from her because she became a single mom and just did it herself. But that whole situation was super messy, man. And I don't know if he was ever present, but it's like that's why and this is to another point. I didn't want to go here, but I will. We got to keep our dick in our pants, man. We really got to understand that you got to have some. I should probably shouldn't have said that word, but that's okay. You have to
No,
have
that's fine.
you have
Actually,
to have some D discipline, brothers, because it
you
may
know,
feel good for a minute or two, but you bust off in that thing and you're not responsible, and here you go, 18 years down the drain. And I'm not saying it like it's not a blessing to be a father, but I would have never ever wanted to be somebody's baby daddy. You know what I mean? And I'm not stepping on your point. I get your point is valid and it makes a lot of sense. If it were to happen, this is the plan you have for it. But man, we out here just busting it and having these kids, man, and it's not fair. It's not fair to them to not take the time and put in the effort to be present with these kids because all children need present fathers. That the research bears that out. It says that you are 30, your child is 37% more likely to graduate college, to be successful in life if you're in that household versus not being there. And what you're doing is you're putting a 57% higher burden on the woman to figure it out when you're not. Just
right.
by not being present, it's not even about being in that house. Okay, you can't stand her. Okay, you frustrated with her. Okay, whatever the case may be. Show up for your family though. Show up for your kids. You made
And I
that
think
child. Daggett. I'm gonna tell you something that I had never ever said publicly, but it's being recorded, and I'm gonna blast this clip out probably first. I cannot respect a man who has kids and does not show up for them. Period. If you tell me that, lose my number. Don't
you know,
talk to me. I don't got nothing to say to you.
I've heard that a lot. I've heard that a lot, and honestly, I respect that. Like that's the reason I'm like, I at least want if God forbid, let's just work things out together. You
And
know
I
what I'm
like
saying?
what you
Because
said. You said if I do have a baby mama, I'm gonna figure out how to and hey, me and you could be always be cool, X. Because
yeah,
that is respectable. That is what men what do men do? Men show up for their families and their kids.
right. Now, granted, I'll probably tell that story some other day. because I did have a pregnancy. Because I had a pregnancy scare.
Look, I like how in real time you're like, probably tell her
No,
whatever,
because I had a
man.
pregnancy scare. I want this to stay on topic, and I'm like, how far with this? Would it deter? Would it not? I don't know. But I will say this though, because my mentor or the men that I idolize were
Mhm.
present. I had access to them in the sense of I could just press play or I could just watch the show, whatever. They're present. But even for my mentor, because he was present and active, this is how it all started. Where I became at least an A, B, if not almost straight A student in college. Now I was a straight A student in high school. Well, I became that because it started where it was like I used to make the whole entire grading scale on progress reports. I'm talking about A, B, C, F, and then out of nowhere, I know, right? Crazy, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, my progress report it will be A, B, C, F, and then out of nowhere, I'll miraculously pull out an A, A's and B's, and maybe one C, or I'll pull out A's and B's. I just procrastinated, and I also just did not care for school. I just was lazy. I got hit with that whole. Have you seen Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
Okay, so that line that Doc Ock said to Peter Parker was said to me before. Okay, I'm talking about Xavier is smart. He's just lazy. You're brilliant, but you're lazy. Matter of fact, my teacher said that, and I was like, "Yo, my mom's right there. Shut up." Because now because now there's an expectation in the house. Now I actually gotta try because now she's gonna be looking at me like, "Why are you playing that game?" Anyway, so he was like, "You know what?" My mentor was like, "I bet if you make A's and B's, I'll give you $40. You make straight A's, I'll give you 50. Bet." I started making A's and B's. I turned it up. I started making straight A's. I'm talking about it got so bad. I really was getting like I started kind of getting pissed off because I make an 89 on my test. Dude, you still passed.
Wow.
I was trying to make a 90. Matter of fact, sometimes even when I
Because
got
you
a
were
90, I
putting
got
in
pissed
the
about it. I was
effort.
like,
It
a
mattered
90?
a lot, and more. It mattered more because you put in the effort.
Well, there's that, and I was also getting paid. And I was like a source of income.
Oh, I missed that part. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no. Because actually, that's a watch. I'm gonna go even further, right?
Yeah, take your time.
So my mentor one day is like, "Hey, look, I want to see if you're gonna do this for yourself. So you're no longer getting any money." What the? Oh, I'm talking. Yeah, I was ready to crash out. I was like, "What?" I was pissed,
That was
right?
your motivation.
Who you telling? I did not like. Listen, I never liked school. I only like school for my friends, gym, and girls that I was like crushing on.
Hey, we
You know
all
what I'm
need
saying?
motivation, bro.
Matter of fact, and money, because sometimes I'll sell my lunch and whatever. I never sold dope, but I found a way to make money.
Hey,
Anyways, so we had this test, right? And I breezed through it. I didn't care. I'm pissed. I'm like, whatever. I got extra time. So I'm just like, well, I do got time. So why not just look at it? I'll go back over the test. Wait a minute, that's this answer. Oh my God, I could have missed that one. That's stupid. I could have missed that one too. And then I just started going through the whole thing. And next thing you know, lo and behold, I redid the whole entire test, got an A on it. And I was like, huh. Well, screw it. You might as well keep on going. And next, I just kept on going. And I started applying myself even more. And then I started applying myself even more. And I just started
what
studying.
did that feel? What did that feel like to go from like lazy and like not really learning for yourself, learning for the money, and not really having a great understanding or appreciation for scholarship, but then later just figuring it out. What did that feel like in the inside?
How did it feel? A sense of duty. Like I
Hmm.
had to do this. I
For
had
you,
to.
for
Matter of
you.
fact, it got to the point where it was becoming a little. I hear my mom in my head because she recently just said it. Like you like a challenge, right?
Hmm.
Now that might be a double-edged sword, but I'm gonna focus on the positive on that one. But she's like, you like a challenge, and when I started really thinking about it, I was like, there's a sense of like I have to do this, and I
Yep.
think I started having fun with it. Like, am
Yep.
I gonna make an A? I don't know, but it was also kind of a high. I'm studying. Okay, I'm going over it. I remember when I had human anatomy, we had 50 definitions, and we had to remember all 50. We got the the words on Monday. You better remember them by Friday. You better figure that out. There's stuff like that. It became a sense of duty. I think it kind of started where it started this whole I don't care about sleep. I'm more concerned about what needs to be done.
You know,
And
you keep saying that phrase, but I'm gonna flip it on its head to coin a phrase that you like to turn a phrase you like to use a lot. Um, Flip it on its head. You found a sense of duty to yourself.
mhm.
Because even
I
as
mean,
I talk to you and as we work together outside of this podcast, I see that in you. I see that you have a sense of responsibility for building the best X that can be built. And I love it. I really think it's dope because I think that that also leads into your rules. It's like, no, it's funny to me because I'm not like that, but I love how you do that. Like you're like, this is your responsibility to yourself for yourself. So now we gonna get even more serious. If we don't sleep, if we don't this, if we don't that, because at first I thought it was a little unhealthy, but actually I like how you do that. I think that's dope.
you know what? I think taking what I love actually how you said that because I think it actually goes back to what my mom said.
You like a
You have
challenge.
like a challenge, but you have a sense of there's like this huge sense of better. You're
Yes.
trying to be better of. There it is. A sense
Yes.
of better of. You always done things in a betterment of blank, betterment
Mm,
of your friends, betterment
mm,
of your family,
mm.
betterment of yourself. There's always a sense of betterment. So becoming the best version of myself. Why do you need to become better? Like when I was doing that on the Stairmaster, where I'm like, why are you doing this? You don't have to do this because I can set an example. I've reached 189 this weekend.
Wow.
Yeah. Granted, I may have undid it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I appreciate it.
Bro, I tell you over and over again, you can't undo weight in 2 days, man. Not like that.
You
Uh-oh.
underestimate my power.
Listen, don't make that a challenge. That is not a challenge.
Oh
Don't
no.
do that.
But you know what? I'll take it a step further. Matter of fact, it showed me that it was possible. And you can show them that it's possible, that you
Yes.
can reverse aging. Because everyone keeps saying, well, you're 30, you're slowing down, you're not gonna be what you used to be. If I was able to do it once, I'm able to do it again.
And you
That's the reason
don't
why
do all
sometimes
the other things that hurt your progress in that. You don't drink, you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't eat a ton of unhealthy food, like a ton of fried, greasy, foods like that. So it's like if you don't do, and I mean, you could sleep more, you could drink more water, but it's like the fundamental things that break down your body and cause you to regress, you don't do. So
and honestly,
F what they
yeah,
say.
yeah, because honestly, granted, if I was to look back on what I had this weekend, yes, I had cinnamon rolls. I know it kind of undoes the whole thing, but I had steak, I had sausage, but the only reason I didn't work out today because I had to help someone move.
Did you
But
have what is that thing, the most disgusting thing? Did you have deep fried Oreos or deep fried so you good.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, those cinnamon rolls are cool, but honestly, that steak already had me filled up, so I was like, it's whatever. But
And as
honestly,
long as you walk enough and you drink enough water, most of that's pushed out of your system anyway. Your body could use that as well. It's not
yeah,
eating cinnamon rolls that's the problem. It's eating cinnamon rolls every single day for a month, laying on the couch, not working out. It's that's the thing about living a holistic lifestyle, right? It's doing a combination of things in tandem to your benefit, right? To offset the opposite of that you've done to your detriment. And that's it.
you know,
That's the only
yeah.
thing that you're doing?
I think I know my mentor talked about it, but I think he never really articulated it properly to the point I would get it because it took me about 20 years for me to understand you can't really outwork a bad diet,
You can.
right?
It's
And
80/20. It's
yeah,
80% diet, 20% exercise, sleep, water, all the other things.
yeah. Now, granted, like I said, maybe he just never articulated it well, or I'll put some blame on myself. I was young and arrogant, you know. I wasn't
You
listening,
listen, you're three things. You're young, arrogant with a high metabolism. That's what gets you at
right?
first when you're young.
Right. And I mean, I'm running. I'll do like 8 miles, and then I'll do a circuit on my abs, and there you
Because you
go. So I'm
good.
like,
Yeah, you
what is a
good.
honey bun to me? You know,
Nothing.
but now I'm like,
The honey
that
bun
honey
right
bun
there.
has been,
Right here.
yeah, yeah. So I'm like, I'm like, I can't really do all that. But I
Mhm.
think that's one thing I'll say. Are there some lessons I can't say I wish I learned because as I gotten older, I think it worked to my betterment.
Mhm.
I The absence of a father does leave a hole in one's heart
Absolutely.
or spiritually. But
Yep.
I'll tell you this: you want to know what's even trickier? Well, even funnier. And I've told my mom this plenty of times because my father, the last time I had a conversation with him was in 2020.
Mhm.
It didn't go well
Oh,
at all.
I'm sorry.
Because granted, he called me.
How
You know,
old
he's up.
were how old were you in 2020?
Think I had him in 25, either
25.
20.
Okay.
Yeah, it had to
Okay.
be in 25.
Mhm.
So he's going off the high of Kobe Bryant's death, right? So he
Mhm.
calling me, and just I think he said like, I just want to know why you hate me,
Okay, one
dude.
second. I need a little bit of context. So you're 25 when you talked to him in 2020. When was the last time you talked to him before that?
I don't remember.
Okay, okay. That
No,
this
no, 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 no.
because that helps me understand like how he's approaching you and how you're responding.
No, I think I know. I think the latest I could honestly think of had to have been 2014 because that was the year I had my surgery
Mm,
for removing my tumor.
hmm
That's the only one I can kind of remember. So,
So
years
basically,
later,
you were 6, 16, 25. Okay, got it.
yeah,
I mean, there might have
six.
been other times other than that, but mainly major events. And you're a kid, you're a teenager, you're a man. I'm just trying to like
Um,
kind of
because
understand.
I was in college when I had my surgery. So
Okay,
2014, I was maybe about maybe 19. I had my
19.
surgery.
Okay,
Yeah. So about 6, 19,
and
20.
25 or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
25. Now this spent some other times, but it never manifested. It
So
was
major
start.
life events. So basically, yeah, he's not having regular conversations with you, just for context, so I can understand.
Oh, matter of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because there's a reason. There's a reason. I'm gonna bring it back to that. I
Mhm.
just if I get
Yeah, do
sidetracked,
your thing. Do your thing. No,
fine.
you're good. You're good.
Because
We got time. Take your time.
so he going to the high of that, and he's like, of the Kobe Bryant's death, and he's like, "Why do you hate me?" And we had this conversation, and I was like, I think he said something along the lines of, "Well, how would you feel if Kobe Bryant's kids said that he didn't care if they didn't care if he was in their lives, something like that?" And I was like, "Well, the problem with that statement is Kobe Bryant was actually in their lives." I said that,
I mean, it was
right?
true. It was true.
Yeah, he didn't like that. So he hit me with the typical passive aggressive. You have a blessed day, and I got pissed because I know what that means. It's very passive aggressive, and I don't like it. But
Hold
it
on,
is.
hold on one second. One second, because I gotta give this to the audience. So, audience, for those of you that don't go to church and are not aware that you have a blessed day, is kiss my ass as a
Mhm,
Christian or as someone who is pretending to be a Christian in a very, very kind but passive and aggressive way. Continue, sir.
right. And granted, that also depends on the tone. It depends on the tone and
It
the
does.
con-
It
the
does. It,
context
it,
of
it
the
could
situation.
be
But
have a
yeah,
blessed day, brother, or have a
yeah. He's like,
blessed day.
yeah. But stuff like that. I'm talking about who is he blessed? Oh, you have a blessed
You
day.
have a blessed day.
Yeah. But as I got older, I was like, because I was like, here's the thing though. As I got older, there's a sense of responsibility, and it kind of goes back to what you said. I just never probably thought of it like that. But I have a sense of responsibility. I have things that are more important than you and I's relationship.
Hmm
I don't care. And it's not the thing about eventually the child gets numb.
Yeah, because maybe you cared. I mean, no, no, no. Let me back up. You definitely cared at 6. You
Hmm.
probably cared at 8. You definitely cared at 10. Around 13, you're like, dang, maybe he just ain't going. Oh, you know what? He showed up for my surgery. Okay, well, hold up. Now you ain't. I already had the surgery. I mean, there's no follow-up, there's no relationship building. And now, because you have had, don't get it twisted. It wasn't I mean, I don't know him that well. My assumption is it wasn't because you had an experience per se. It was because Kobe Bryant, he felt so deeply for him and what happened. Because I felt it too, especially because he died with his daughter. I was like, oh my God. Like, I think I even cried. But because he had an emotional moment and experience, now he feels the need to reach out to you. So that wasn't
Matter of
even
fact,
a you thing, but his expectation was for you, the adult, to help him heal that child side wound inside of himself. But
you
when you
know what?
didn't,
Actually, I never
he
thought of it like that.
reacted because the hurt inside him couldn't help him find his humility and start his healing journey because he could have right there on the spot. And I will bet, bro, if he did that, oh my God, y'all could have had such a powerful moment. Like, you know what, son? Damn, you're right. I am sorry. I didn't know how to be there for you at the time. But watching, I think her name is Gia, Gigi, or whatever, watching
Gigi,
Kobe huh?
Gigi.
Watching Kobe and Gigi die affected me. And I don't want to die myself before we fix this thing. How can I fix this thing with you? Had he said something like that, bro,
You know,
it may have
maybe.
still taken time, but you know,
Yeah, I mean, maybe, and I say it more of like to be fair to the situation, because in all honesty, as you kept talking about it, and as I kept thinking about it, and that's why I was like, I want to bring it back because the absence of a father, or the consistency of the absence of a father, creates a consistency of inconsistency.
yes.
That's what the child
Ooh,
grows up to understand.
ooh,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
good. No, no, I hear you. I
And
hear you.
and not because I started recognizing that even when I went to therapy, all your life has been inconsistent. In a way, you're combating against a culture. So what you're
Yeah.
trying to break down is a fight. Even with changing the way that I eat, it's a fight. That's a culture. You're combating against a culture of inconsistency.
Mm-hmm.
That's why New Year's resolutions mean something to me,
Mm.
because it means it's a promise to yourself. It means that you haven't given up.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's why the rules mean so much to you too.
it's a guide, because sometimes I don't have all the answers. Sometimes I'm losing my mind. Sometimes I'm freaking out, you know, and it just keeps me on track of things. So that's one that I recognize as, without the father. Oh, what's up? That's soon. But the absence of a father, or the inconsistency of an absentee
You
father,
said the absence of a father creates a consistency of inconsistency.
right? And so that's one that I recognize too.
Damn.
And so
I'm
with my
sorry
father,
about that too, bro. That sucks. I'm a whole space for you with that because that sucks.
oh no, you good. Because in all honesty, there's two moments that made me kind of put everything together and kind of like made peace with it all, right?
Mm.
So even with my surgery, he wasn't there.
Oh.
Okay, he called. You're
Mm.
right. Granted, I don't know what my sister told him, because apparently he thought I had a brain tumor, and I was like, "How do you face brain? They're not the same." Whatever. Appreciate it. You're right, because
I
I didn't.
mean, yeah.
Yeah, I tried to process it all, so I was like, "It's fine. Thanks. Appreciate it." But after that, I don't think I heard anything from him. So there's that aspect. But there it is, the latest. The last time I actually talked to him was before the 2020 is 2017, because I was graduating from college and he asked, can he show up? And I kind of felt a little creeped out, because I was like, for what? You know what I'm saying? What am I going to say? Hey, I want to thank my mom, for your support and your love, my sister for always, making light of my college experience and not making me want to crash out, my mentor for always sticking with me, my dad. Yeah. And just go on to the next. That's how it's going to sound. It
I
doesn't make
mean, you
sense.
just for bring you into this world, but other than that,
Yeah, that's how it sounds. Like, yeah, move on. It don't make sense. So I said no. But here's a moment that actually hit hard. So I talked to my grandmother before she died, right? And by the way, I feel like that was divine intervention,
really,
because, yeah, because I was on a date with someone, and I
Mm.
got the phone call from my aunt telling me that my grandmother was dying and I need to call her. Now I'm a man, whatever. I'm on a date. I ain't gonna try to cry in front of her. That's kind of awkward. The whole thing just got awkward, but let's not make it worse. So, all right, cool. Escort you out. When I got alone time, called my grandmother, cried, the whole thing. My grandmother was just tired. She just did not feel like going through the whole fight anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the worst part about that whole situation, I had to accept it.
Mm.
I had to. She was just like, I'm done. I don't feel like doing this. But miraculously, she recovered. And so
Wow.
I had a moment. I was like, look, go see her. So I went to
Mm.
go see her.
Look at God.
And me and her, granted, my dad caught wind of it. I don't know who told him,
Wait, hold on a
but he caught
second.
wind of it.
Hold
He
on a
kind of,
second. Was that his mom?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Matter of fact, I think I'm very emotionally in tuned so well to the point where when my grandmother died on my mom's side, I knew, like spiritually, I
Wow.
knew. Is in 20. I was the last one up. Everyone else was asleep. I was up, and I got the phone call from the hospital, like, "Hey, we need to talk to the mother, or we need to talk to my mom." And that's what happened. I found out that
I'm
my
I'm
grandmother.
actually looking at the series right now. I think it's called the telepathy tape. I don't know. Telepathy tapes that talks about that. And I think you
Yeah,
really are connected with him like that. Like I really do. I think you were connected with her. I think it when you feel there's a whole we can have a whole other podcast about that, but I
yeah.
I, I believe in that
But
stuff for real.
with my grandmother, I went up there and I got to see her. Now, granted, I only went up there to go see her, my little sister, my cousin. Everyone else was a bonus. So I went up to go see her. We started talking, and she said something that stuck out with me. I don't think he can forgive himself for not being in you all's lives because I have other siblings. And I
Mhm.
was like, hmm. I always had a theory about that, but I never really accepted it.
Do you want to share the
Until
theory?
I
You
went
don't
home.
have to if you don't want to.
Oh no, because here's where I also was like, you know what? I have no, I have no beef with you. At the end
Mm.
of the day, I grew up. I don't long for a father. I have my father figures. I have my mentor.
Mhm.
I have a sense of responsibility to my nephew. I gotta be an example for him. I gotta be a good example for my mother, for my sisters. Like I have other things that are way more important than what I got going on. A relationship with my father is not necessary.
And this is the
You know.
thing of I think oof, this is gonna be the part. This is gonna be the meat of the matter, right? I believe in those interpersonal relationships between fathers and sons, there are dual responsibilities. There are responsibilities for them to from zero to let's just call it for argument's sake 15, 16 to be present. But what I learned as a man, as a young man, at some point and that's the father from 0 to 16 to be present, to be available, to be there to nurture and pour into you whatever they have to give. But from 16 to adult and on, I think it's our responsibility to start being young men, to start figuring out our lives. And because you said you have a theory, I have a theory too. I think after 16, it's up to you to decide if you allow that man back in. If you allow me, and honestly, I can't make that decision for anybody listening to me. Because I know for me, because my dad always made an attempt to be there for me whenever he called before he passed away on Christmas Day 1999. I always was like, hey man, what's up? And I loved our interaction and our conversations and things like that. I'm not going to say the name of the person, but I do have a person in my life though at 44, whatever, because I reached out and reached out and reached out and reached out. And then at some point, I'm like, bro, like you just said, I'm a man, bro. I got
Yeah.
kids. They ain't grown yet, but that's my responsibility now. Keeping this
Yeah.
place heated and lit is my responsibility now. Making sure that everybody, all four of these individuals, even though some of them don't always see eye to eye with me, but I'm gonna make sure they're taken care of. That's my
Right.
responsibility. Not
And that's
necessarily letting these men back in my life who haven't healed themselves, who haven't been on the journey that I'm on and who, quite frankly, are more concerned with capitalism than taking care of what they need to as a man and healing broken relationships and situations that they created.
Right. And
And
so
that's
that's
even
one.
painful for me to say, you know what I mean? I'm actually holding back tears right now talking about this because I care about this man, you know what I mean? But I
Learn
think I
from a
think that
different.
that's actually what started my whole wholeness way type of mentality is like black men need to heal, bro. Because when you don't heal, you hurt other people in the process if it's intentional or unintentional. It happens.
Hmm. And that's I'm gonna go with that too because I had to learn that. I had to learn it the hard way, and I think I'm trying to be more intentional with what I'm doing because at a certain point, you can't keep saying I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. At the end of the day, I'm still affected. You know,
Period.
there's too many times where I've had my heart broken, but oh, I didn't mean to do it. Yet I'm still heartbroken. I've had like you had chances. There was a
And
beginning,
nobody
middle,
can tell you differently about your experience. You feel heartbroken.
right. And so
No,
even
it
with
don't,
my
it doesn't
own
even really, I mean, it doesn't, but it doesn't matter that they didn't mean to do it, especially
right,
if it's repetitive, you know?
right. And so that's what I'm like. That's how I feel about it all. And when it came to my grandmother, when she told me that about my father, um, granted, shortly afterwards, and this is why I said we were connected because I didn't see my grandmother prior to that moment. I didn't see my grandmother for about 20 something years. So, and as soon
Wow.
as I saw her, she passed away shortly
Mm,
after. So I think she really was holding on for me. But not only that, that piece of information she had to give to me.
mm,
And when I got that, I was like, you know what? I don't have no beef with you. I just have other things that's way more important than you. You
mhm.
looking for redemption, then go be a good grandfather. That's what you're gonna
That,
get it at.
bro. Kevin
Go be a
Hart,
good
oh my God. Hey, Kevin Hart has a fire. Dang, what was that set called?
either seriously funny or laugh at my pain.
I think it was Laugh at My Pain. Bro, that thing was so intriguing to me. I watched, I wasn't, it was funny. It was funny. It was funny. It was funny, funny. It was funny because it was funny, but I wasn't laughing because it wasn't funny, if that makes sense. I was like,
Yeah,
dang,
that makes
he
perfect sense.
loves his father. He allowed his father back in, but the thing that his father had an opportunity to do when he had the opportunity to do it, he didn't do it. But seeing him be a present grandfather, taking care of business, being love, being all the things that he wasn't for him, healed the wound, but not
Hmm.
from him doing the thing that he didn't ever do with him, but being there for the grandchild and him
Hmm.
seeing him do those things and that he was capable of doing those things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense.
And I was
And
like,
that's how I feel.
wow, bro, that
Yeah,
thing was, it was like 4 or 5D chess. I was just like, that's how it
hmm
happens. That's how
yeah,
it
and that's how I
happens.
felt. That's how I felt. I was like, you know what? Go be a good grandfather. That's where you gonna get it at. Here
And
with
that's
your
the only
kids,
thing that's available to you. You feel me?
right? Because we owe you nothing. We owe you nothing. And the thing is
And
that
even from like a therapeutic and a mental health standpoint, that's not wrong. That is a boundary that you set up. Should you forgive? Yes. But dang, excuse me, sir. But that doesn't mean you need to move different.
right. Because the thing about all of this, and this kind of goes back to a healing, my mother is hurt by him, but not to the point where she was gonna stop me from having a relationship with him. She's never talked bad about him.
Exactly.
She's
Exactly.
never talked bad about him. She just told the story. She just that's this
Her
is how we
truth.
met.
That is the definition of like we again, all of these terms that we use as like whatever's, but that really is your mother's truth.
Right. And so she never talked bad about him. And even take it a step further, I've always had a way to go see y'all if I wanted to go see. If I wanted to see my father's side of the family, I could have easily saw it. I could have easily saw them. They just weren't priority,
Mm-hmm.
until it became a priority, then I had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just really what the reality is. I was living my life, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I found peace through that because it just it made the most sense, but it was just a truth I had to accept. I'm good. I have other things that matter to me more.
Mm-hmm.
That is not a big deal to me anymore. What can you honestly tell me that I'm not already privy to? Kind of late on the credit. You're kind of late on the credit thing. But you gonna tell me about dating? I already did it. You know what I'm saying?
All the mistakes I
So
could have made, I didn't. I done made, and a couple that I could have made that I didn't. You know.
right, and so there's that aspect of it, and I made my peace with it. I have no bitterness. I have no anger to it. I'm more just like, and it got kind of, and that's why I was like, love them from a distance. I don't know if you heard me when I said that, but
I
I
did
know
hear
how
you,
that
sweetie, but
feels.
I love that term actually.
Yeah, I know there's a person that means a lot to you, but the love in a way is not being reciprocated.
Well, that's the thing
Cool.
I had to do with that person that I was telling you about earlier. It's like, man, I love them so much because I'm like, for most of my childhood life, I really looked up to him. I mean, idolized him. I mean, wanted to beat him, wanted to kind of like gear my life toward, being like they were. But at the end of the day, I just, it became too painful to continue to try to foster a relationship that was obviously never going to happen.
I know how that feels also, and I've done that. Where it's like, okay, this has become,
No, you're fine.
but
I got it.
it got to the point where this became too much,
Yep.
right? And at a certain point, I'm
Push
just
the
like,
phone
you know
back a
what?
little bit.
Uh,
Yeah.
all right, all right. But yeah, it got to the point where it's like, you know what? I'm not gonna keep reaching out to you because a phone works both ways.
Yes.
Like, I don't hate you. I'm just done. I'm gonna live my life and move forward. I'm gonna
Because
love
that's what it
you.
is. Let me say this real quick. That's what
Mhm.
it is. You are keeping me in limbo because I'm always expecting this thing. And like you said, the phone works both ways. So I call you on Tuesday, you call me 3 weeks later, bruh. Oh, I don't care no more. I don't. I
Yeah,
don't. I wanted to talk to you. Hey, I just wanted to tell you, Lucas is doing great in drumming. You remember that time you did the thing with me? It was a moment. Ha ha. 3 weeks later, get on my face, man. I mean, I need to stop doing that because I'm getting so like aggressive with it. And I don't mean to be aggressive with it, but that's how I feel about it.
you know
You
what? And
know?
I feel you. Matter of fact, I feel you on that, and I'm glad you said that. Good, because I was feeling the same way, and it's because in a sense, maybe just like how certain things that you said kind of was like, huh, I never thought of it like that. Maybe you just never thought of it like that too.
Mhm.
Where it's like, you know what? I'm gonna love this person from a distance. I don't have to reach out. A phone works both ways. At a certain point, I'm just hurting myself. Cool. If it's not a priority to you, I don't have to make it a priority to me. That's a weight off my shoulders. I don't have to think of it like that. I don't have to make it a priority.
Because you're
You
always
call,
holding it right there. It is a weight. You're always holding it in the back of my mind. You're always, at least for me, fantasizing about we're gonna grow and this relationship is gonna be, man. No, it's not.
because
You
in
you
this
you are proving to me that it's not gonna be that.
because it hit. I had to find it the hard way when I was going through a lot, and I'm like, yo, I'm just need someone to just talk to, just need someone to
Yes.
talk to me, just lighten
Yes.
up the load, something.
Somebody
And
who
I
knows you,
called you,
somebody who is familiar with you, somebody who a male you can look up to, you know?
right, and when I couldn't do that, I was like, why am I reaching out? And it started re-triggering those old feelings back in 2023. This is where again, me chronologically
Hmm.
logging in, what happened,
Hmm.
deja vu. I've been down this road before.
Hmm.
When I reach out to people, they don't reach back out to me. But when
Hmm.
they need something,
Hmm.
that's when they become chatty Cathy. That's when they're quick to respond.
Hmm.
Okay, bet. I'm not gonna reach out anymore. I'm not gonna
Hmm.
call.
Hmm.
Or if you do call, I might not be quick to answer. I'm gonna treat me like a business. And I have business
Hmm.
hours. And sometimes I'm not available. I don't hate
Man,
you. I still love you. I still love you. It's just your VIP access got revoked. You may be in the front row, but you ain't in VIP anymore.
bro, you know what you just made me think of? Damn. That's powerful. So, was it last week? I think it was last week. Yeah, no, it was the week before last because it wasn't last week. The week before last on the radio, we talked about loving yourself, right? Putting yourself first. The high five habit by Mel Robbins. Going in the mirror, giving yourself a high five, saying, I love you. You're a handsome dude, affirming yourself and all of that thing. But what you just helped me either realize or remember, because I have read that before, is the backside of loving yourself is being strong enough to set boundaries to protect yourself. And that's what we're talking about right now. And we don't talk about that as often, I believe, because it's uncomfortable. And that's the harder side of loving yourself. Because that
Mm.
part is a little bit more painful than that. Oh, you're so wonderful. You're so beautiful. But we have to protect our peace too, man. And the
Hmm.
thing is, we know those. And I'm not saying that this person that I'm talking about or your father are vampires, but there are energy vampires out there that will suck your energy dry. And to your earlier points, they call you and be chatty patty, as you said. But when you need something, and in any relationship, man, and I'm saying this to myself, I'm saying this to my homie Zay, I'm saying this to our audience. We must inventory our lives to see what the relationships we have in our lives are really made of. Because if we're not careful, we'll surround ourselves with the wrong types of people and we won't ever really fully walk down this healing journey.
You know
And that,
what?
and
I
that
think
is that is as detrimental as having somebody just come directly at you and steal everything that you have. You know what I mean?
yeah. If you never get rid of the wrong friends, you never make room for the right ones.
That ooh, well said, my brother. Well said.
Yeah,
Thank
I think it was either Joel Osteen. I know I heard that from there's a rapper named Hobson. He had it on one of his songs,
That's
and
good.
I had to rewind it back because I was like, huh, that's real.
That is real.
So,
That
yeah,
is
and I
real.
even with just relationships, and sometimes I think that's what the power of just having uh a strong male presence kind of installs in a young man.
Hmm.
Integrity and character, but also just, hey, he ain't moving too right. Hey, I think you might want to cut that dude off because
Or, hey, listen, you need to be aware of how people move because everything you just said.
yeah, and that's really what the truth is, and that's or more or less that's one thing I kind of gathered. Um, I think that's where the importance of having a male figure comes into play. It's just, especially just teaching that sense of discipline, character, and just watching how people move. Just all of it kind of comes from that. Not only that, because I've seen single mothers do it, and they did a damn good job. Um, but I think it's just something stronger when you have a male figure that's just like, hey, don't do that, or hey, you might want to watch out for that. Um, that's one of the things I kind of learned from just all the men that I've looked up to. And I think without them even knowing, they've always kind of installed that sense of discipline, character, integrity, and just to kind of help me um, just become a little bit better.
And as we wrap up this episode, we want to leave you with just that, right? If you're a man, young or old, and you have people in your life that look up to you, and we titled this, why black men need fathers or something like that. We're still gonna work that out. But why black men need each other is everything that we talked about. We need to learn integrity. We need to learn honesty. We need to learn ethics, right? But more over and above that, we need to be available to each other. Again, like we said in the last episode, everybody don't need to be telling their business to everybody, but everybody needs somebody. And to my friends out there, my brothers out there struggling, you know I'm there for you. You know what I mean? To you, X, I'm here for you, bro. And I know you there for me. You know what I mean? I wouldn't allow you in my safe space, in my vulnerable space like this. I'm telling you all my business as well as this audience, but particularly you. because I'm an open guy, but I'm not like I told you the one dude. I'm sorry, sir. I'm not trying to shade you, but I ain't letting everybody know my business like that. Especially because if we've not built a relationship, and to the audience, be intentional in the relationships that you build. Don't
Mm,
expect too much from anybody right away. Be willing to invest the time to build the foundations and do to build the foundation singular to get that relationship off the ground. You know what I mean? And there may be some missteps because we all have traumas, we all have experiences, we all have a backstory, right? But just give people grace and give it the relationship time to grow.
yeah, and honestly, I think there's something else that you said, but I want to. I say relearning the power of to relearn ethics, to relearn character, to relearn what it means to honestly just be vulnerable, to relearn what it means to be strong. Some, as Big Sean says, some men grow old but not up. They're still childish,
Mm, mm,
right? And so when you have that strong male figure, I think that's more of appropriate, more better than just dads, right? I think father figures value those men who stepped up when the guy who was supposed to didn't,
mm,
right? Value him, right? Because these are the people who are molding you to grow up, not just old. So I think it's the power of just relearning ethics, relearning uh character, discipline, and just also relearning what it means to just be strong,
I'm gonna
relearning
let
what
you
it means to be a man.
I'm gonna let you close it out, but you reminded me of something. Remember relearning to be a man. Shout out to mothers out there that's doing it all on their own, man. Single mothers out there being mothers and fathers to your sister, you know what I'm saying, for raising you so awesome and eloquently to your mother. Um, because I'm sure it's not easy trying to be a mother and a father. But I really want to give some respect and some love to the single moms out there. Zay?
Yeah, honestly, I said that a lot too. At least off screen. Um, I think you actually hit it right on the head. I appreciate the single mothers for doing their job, but it's time for the fathers and the father figures to take back their job.
And we're out.